welcome to another edition of Currently in Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano, and on today's program we will chat with Alice Arena and Mike Lang of the Fore River Residents Against the Compressor Station. Get an update on that group and their upcoming activities. First, though, we check out the weather and the news for you. Currently in Quincy, it's sunny out there. It's 52 degrees right now, with a bit of a wind chill, actually. It'll be brisk this afternoon, but lots of sunshine and highs into the mid-50s. Chilly night coming up tonight. Temperatures dip into the mid-30s, and the temperatures kind of go down from here on out. I think today is actually the pick of the week. Not bad tomorrow, a little brisk with a high around 50 degrees. The clouds increase here on Wednesday. It'll rain Wednesday night. Temperatures only in the mid-40s. And then a cool, damp day here on Thursday with off and on showers and a high barely 50 here on Thursday. Looks like the rain will continue into Friday morning, may clear out by Friday afternoon. But right now, sunshine, 52 degrees. In the news today, as the war in Ukraine rages on, here in Massachusetts, officials are preparing to take in any refugees that may make their way to the Bay State. State Representative Tacky Chan of Quincy says that some money has been earmarked to assist any Ukrainian refugees, as well as refugees from Afghanistan.
We put some money in the most recent supplemental budget in anticipation of possible Ukrainian refugees. We still are taking Afghan refugees. We put some money in last year's state budget for that. We will reevaluate if state money needs to go in to provide support for local agencies on top of whatever the federal government provides. But it's kind of a wait and see. We'll address as we go. I've been advocating Ways and Means workforce development. My attitude is that we should try to get refugees acclimated, obviously settled in a home, get some basic needs settled in, try to help them plug into the local service agencies, but also we should try to help them find jobs. We do have a workforce shortage, as we all know. Try to figure out how to find jobs, how to get the kid to school, vaccination, proper medical care. And we're not just talking about COVID, we're talking about things like tuberculosis, hepatitis, other types of diseases that they may not have medical care for or know about. There's always that possibility. Medical care is not equal over the world.
Chan said with many of the refugees expected to be women, there is an opportunity to fill the labor shortage in child care. A roadblock, he said, though, would be verifying their credentials, given the destruction of the Ukrainian infrastructure. Well, the federal government has agreed to clean up an almost 4-mile stretch of the Neponset River after decades of pollution from the many industrial sites that were located along that waterway. During an announcement in the Lower Mills section of Mattapan recently, Boston Mayor Michelle Wu said the cleanup will benefit everyone who lives or works in the Neponset River watershed.
The chemicals in this river can have serious impacts on physical health, on reproductive health, and affect our young people's cognitive development and learning. And communities that benefit most from this are the very community that stand to benefit the most from our investments here, are the communities that have been historically targeted for disinvestment as part of racist policies like redlining for decades. While a few companies profited, our neighborhoods were polluted and our residents paid the price with their health. Dangerous chemicals do not belong in our water. They do not belong in our communities. And I want to thank all of the organizers and activists who refuse to give up, all of the community leaders and elected officials passing the torch term after term after term, generation after generation to get us to this point. I am so excited and honored to be stepping in at this moment, at the moment of action. And so thank you to the EPA for declaring the Lower Neponset River a Superfund site. With this support alongside Mass DEP, we will seize on every bit of resource and opportunity to restore this river and return it to our residents as the treasure that it is. This will not only begin the long overdue process of undoing decades of damage, but also bring us closer to our goal and our focus of making Boston a Green New Deal city.
Environmental officials say the Neponset is contaminated with cancer-causing PCBs that have been banned since 1979, but don't break down in the environment. An analysis of the contamination will be done this year, and the multi-million-dollar, years-long cleanup will begin late next year or in early 2024. Quincy City Council is reviewing a proposal to make the city's codes and other rules and regulations gender neutral. Councilor at large Nina Liang introduced a resolution that she says will bring Quincy up to date with today's standard municipal definitions.
This is pretty self-explanatory. It's just an update to our municipal code. It's really outdated right now, and as we're updating our city, we probably should update the rules that govern it. And so I'm going to be moving this as well as the next one into ordinance committee for further discussion, but it really is just a sort of cleanup and update to our codes. So I'd like to make a motion to move this to ordinance.
Liang says many other communities have already adopted gender-neutral language for boards and commissions, including using terms select boards instead of selectmen and chairperson instead of chairman. The Ordinance Committee is currently reviewing Liang's proposal. Norfolk County Sheriff's Office has its first female superintendent in that office's 229-year history. Danielle Frayne was appointed to replace retiring former Superintendent Michael Harris by Sheriff Pat McDermott last week. Frayne will oversee the daily operations at the Norfolk County House of Corrections in Dedham. Frayne has been with the Sheriff's Office for 25 years, starting out as a corrections officer, working her way up to Assistant Superintendent last year. She has numerous professional certifications and is working on her master's degree in criminal justice. Frayne's promotion was announced during a ceremony at the Dedham Jail last Wednesday. She received her official superintendent's pin from her father, retired Assistant Deputy Superintendent Robert Boomhauer. That's a check of news. Coming up, we chat with Alice Arena and Mike Lang of the Four River Residents Against the Compressor Station next. Welcome back. As you may be aware, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission recently ruled that they are unable to stop the compressor station in North Weymouth from operating, basically saying, yes, we made a mistake. No, we can't do anything about it. It's not stopping the Four River Residents Against the Compressor Station from continuing their fight against it, though. So Alice Arena and Mike Lang are joining us to give us a little update on the group and what is new. So Alice and Mike, good to see you both.
Thank you.
Good to see
Thank you very much.
Again, actually.
Again?
We've been at this now for, 5 years since the station itself was approved, Alice, but I know the group, Frax, has been around for 7 years.
Yeah, we're entering our 8th year.
Yeah.
Which I have to keep saying that. It's not really, we've completed our 7th, going into our 8th year of fighting this.
Mm-hmm. Are you deterred by the latest, ruling from the FERC Regulatory Commission?
There's a source of encouragement in there.
Really?
The fact that they're recognizing that they made a mistake, that they didn't consider anything, let's be honest. They didn't consider environmental justice when they cited it, because of the EJ neighborhoods in Quincy Point and Germantown and East Braintree and North Weymouth now. They considered none of that. They also did not consider climate change. And we know that this is in a coastal inundation area. It's in a flood zone. We told them that how many times?
It's all documented. Yeah.
All documented,
Yeah.
and they didn't. So the fact that they're at least saying, oh, yeah, we should have done something about that.
Is this the same commission that was around in 2017? No.
No.
Okay.
Some of the commissioners their terms, I believe, are 5 years. I could be wrong, but I think it's 5 years.
Okay.
And so they overlap one another. So I believe Commissioner Glick, who is now Chairman Glick,
Right.
was there
Okay.
in 2017. But the more pertinent information is that they had to recertify this in 2019 because the certificate that was issued in 2017 is only good for 2 years.
Okay.
And because they had not met the criteria of being constructed and operating by January of 2019, they had to request an extension, which is common. It's common practice. However, FERC usually takes about 30 days to say, yeah, we'll give you the extension, and they do it. It's rubber stamp. They took 34 minutes
Okay.
34 minutes. The person who signed the authorization was not qualified to do so. And yes, we're in court.
Right. Congressman Lynch, as you're well aware, has written a letter to FERC requesting that they immediately revoke the permit, shut the facility down. His letter, I have here a copy of it, dated January 26th of 2022. Has there been a response?
There has been a response,
Okay.
And it's very recent, probably within the last 2 weeks.
Okay.
And it was boilerplate. Yeah, we know you're concerned. Oh, well.
Okay. I actually had a chance to chat with the congressman about this. He seems to feel it's eventually going to end up in appeals courts. Do you think that's true?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we are doing that.
Oh, okay.
So we have instructed our attorney to begin the process. The paperwork was filed, I think, on Friday.
Okay.
Because of this extension problem, number one, that's a real problem. And so we're in court with that.
Fighting that, yep.
That gave them the opportunity in December of 2018, January of 2019. They had the opportunity to sit back and say, wow, these people have had 2 years and they haven't even broken ground yet. What the heck is going on? You know, let's look and see what's going on. And they would have seen the lawsuits and they would have seen all the problems. And maybe they would have thought about it. They didn't.
Okay.
34 minutes. Oh, sure, you have another 2 years.
So is that the basis of the appeal?
That is going to be part of it because in that now, FERC has said, well, we might have made a mistake. There's an in right there
Okay.
to say, you sure did, and 2 years ago you had the opportunity to fix that mistake and you did not.
Okay. I asked the congressman if he felt it would have ever end up in Supreme Court, federal Supreme Court. He didn't think that the court would take this case up.
Doubtful.
Okay.
We had actually the opportunity to do so when we lost the air quality case a few months ago.
Yeah.
If we said, okay, we're going to appeal it, that appeal would have been to the Supreme Court.
Okay.
But considering the makeup of the court right now, we didn't feel it was worth it. We didn't feel
Okay.
it.
So I guess what's the ultimate end game? I mean, the station is built, it's operating, it's there. So if you win, it's still going to be there. Is the goal to have it torn down and removed? And over to Mike.
We'll turn it into a Dunkin' Donuts.
Because we don't have enough of those.
Oh, exactly. You can never have enough. It's odd that you should mention that. I saw a report one time about some of these old facilities in the Rust Belt with the
Yes.
steel-making facilities.
Yes.
And what they did, they painted them bright colors and turned them into parks
Oh, okay.
for the kids. And it was actually a great idea. But, yeah, there's a lot of problems there. And it doesn't mean that it should still be going. I mean, if it's a danger, you got to shut it down, and that's what we do. My own take on this, Alice and I haven't had enough time to discuss this, but I think a lot of it's going to center around what's happening in the world, the Ukraine thing with
Yes.
the Russian gas and all this. And
I was going to bring that up,
LNG, and
yeah.
it's just I have no idea where it's going to go. We have a person that works with us that's in contact with Germany and the people, the decision makers, and the radicals over there, and he keeps us informed of where they stand. Right now, Germany and Europe don't allow frack gas in there. Well, this is what they're pumping through the pipe is frack gas. So they got no place to send it unless Europe changes their mind.
Do you worry, though, that there may be a bigger market for it in this country given the rising cost of energy?
Oh, without a doubt. I'm
Okay.
sure they will. But people don't look long-term and say, you still have to breathe the air, and if you don't clean up the air, then you're really having a problem. And that's the thing. They're kind of short-sighted,
Yeah, the biggest, I guess, argument seems to be it's just in the wrong location. I mean, there are similar types of these compressor stations that are located in the middle of nowhere, right?
I do the technical stuff for the group. I read a lot of it, and I compare it to what's out there and what the regulations are and
Yeah.
all. And that's exactly right. This fits none of the criteria for a normal station.
Yeah.
And we had provided the documentation for that, and we're just totally ignored. We had cases where there was conflict of interest. And so we provided the documentation that showed that, and they said, yeah, you're right, there's conflict of interest, but it's really not bad enough. You know?
Okay. It seems like, yeah, roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. I mean, every elected official here on the South Shore has signed on against this. You got kind of stymied at the state level, I know, and didn't get a lot of response from the governor's office. You do have the Congress on your side. It seems like it's futile. Do you feel that way? Yeah.
And you know, it's depressing. Like I said, I do a lot of research, and Alice had mentioned the previous commissioners on FERC.
Yes.
Now, if you look at the older ones and find out where they are now, you'll find that they got some cushy job with an energy company. And actually, we have one of them that had signed off on this project, and he went up and he actually got a job like the following week with the energy company that he was permitting.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah. And the guy that provided the export permits, I won't mention his name. Anyway, he went on to a nice job somewhere, but when it became public that he took this job with the company, he moved on to an association, an energy association, which has less implication.
Yeah, well, it's interesting with these commissions, these federal commissions, and I talked to the congressman about this as well. They're kind of autonomous groups. There's not a lot of oversight or regulation. It's like FEMA is the same type of situation. They kind of operate independently, so they have no oversight.
Right.
Yes, Alice. Yeah.
So I'm going to interject here. It's even worse with FERC. So the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission is an independent commission, as you said.
Yeah.
They also receive no tax dollars. They're literally paid for by the industry that they regulate.
Okay.
So
That's a blatant conflict, obviously. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the congressmen and the senators try as they might. They can't do anything like, okay, FERC, if you don't behave, we're going to cut off your funding.
Right, which would be the ultimate regulation, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate oversight. And so really, they're left with, you know, could you please not do
Right.
this or please do that? And nope.
Yeah. Let's talk about what's happening at the station right now. Apparently there's a lot of activity, and you brought a couple of photos to show us that, right?
Right. So back, I believe it was in December, the town was notified that they would be doing some, I don't know what we want to call it, rehabilitation, something, and that they would be down there constructing through July.
Okay.
And Mike has been more on top of like what has been coming in and out. There's backhoes, there's welders, there's electricians and plumbers, and you name it, they're down there on site. I think, how many trucks were there today?
Oh, about 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in a station that typically, and this would be any station anywhere,
Yeah.
they have one person there, and that one person is there, you know, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, just making sure, you know, the doors are locked or whatever. They have rarely, since it was constructed, had one person on site.
Okay.
You know, you'll see 3, 4 trucks, whatever, and now you're seeing upwards of 20.
Yeah, we have a couple of photos that we could bring up and show folks. There's some rebar there on site, so it looks like some construction material being brought into the scene.
And just like we had talked about,
Yep.
rebars are, if you're mounting some sort of small engine or an air conditioner or whatever, you don't need rebar. This is to support something really significant. And prior to the rebar coming, they had a man that comes in and he cuts the concrete in the floor. So he was out there cutting holes in the floor.
Okay.
So, I mean, this is major construction that
Yep.
they're doing.
Some excavators being brought in on a flatbed there as well. So,
And the thing is that they're required to submit a monthly report on what activity is going on and their forecast for the future. Well, they came out and they said, we have no planned work for the coming future.
submit the report to who, Mike?
To FERC, I gather, yeah.
Okay. Okay. And those are public documents, obviously.
Exactly.
Okay.
And we get a copy of it, we see it, and it's really?
So what's your fear? They're trying to expand the station?
Well, one of the fears we always had was in doing our research about compressor stations that they always have a backup compressor. And you can understand the logic in it. They need something if the compressor goes down. The building is big enough to hold a couple of them, you know. So we always worry about them coming in with another one. That's why
I see.
we even have people come down at night just to check and see if they're rolling a truck in the door.
Yeah, okay, so you're worried that they're going to basically double the capacity of the station from 7,700 horsepowers to, what, over 15,000?
Oh, exactly.
Okay.
And, you know, they'll use the same logic with FERC and the regulatory people and saying, well, it's already in place, so, you know, it's not worthwhile to, you know, move it or
Yeah.
take it out.
Are the health monitoring stations still in operation, the air quality monitoring stations? Yes, Alice? Okay.
Yeah, so we have triangulated the basin, you know, in Quincy, Braintree,
Yeah.
and Weymouth with what are called purple air monitors. And these are, you know, small monitors that do function very well, and it's a nationwide network of these monitors. You can look in Wyoming and see how the air quality is. And so we keep an eye on that. And of course, the state's air quality monitor, which I'm going to say it, is in the wrong place.
Okay.
Is there and functioning, and you can go onto the state's website and see what's going on with particulate matter and
Okay.
things like that. We, I've fallen down on the job a little bit, but something that we need to work on this year, the town of Braintree is partnering with us to put in another air quality monitor, we're hoping, in the Beld area. And the company that we were dealing with, they had a beta tested model that they were beta testing that actually would break down the volatile organic compounds that they were getting. Right now, what you get is an aggregate, so they'll say, well, you know, you've got this much volume in volatile organic compounds. But the beta tested model, which may be on the market now, would say, well, these are your benzene levels, and these
Okay.
are your formaldehyde levels, and that
Oh,
kind of
so
thing,
it's
which
very
would be
specific.
very specific
Okay.
and would be better than the state's monitor.
Okay. Right now, is there any indication of elevated levels of cancer-causing carcinogens? There are, okay.
Yeah, there are. So I can't break down for you, you know, what's coming out
Yep.
in benzene or that kind of thing, but the one thing that we can track is what's called particulate matter 2.5. And that's the 2.5 is the size of the molecule, but this is something that gets embedded in your lungs.
Okay.
And of course, you can't see it or smell it or anything like that, but it's that size that will cause cancer and will cause emphysema and all the other lung disorders that we see in
Yeah.
the basin. And our levels, especially in the last couple of months, have been high.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Now, I know that, I mean, the site is already contaminated, right, from previous industrial use. There was a power plant there for generations. Wasn't Enbridge tasked with cleaning that up before this station went into operation? You're rolling your eyes.
Mike?
Yes. And did they? No.
Okay.
And that's what we're going through right now is
Okay.
the PIP process. And where they're supposed to clean it up with.
PIP.
Public Involvement Plan.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Anyway, and so they kind of dance around the issue. It's already contaminated. You can't move it. So a lot of times, and this is a common practice. If you cover it up and, you know, hide it real well and keep the public out, then you don't have to clean it up. So
Okay.
it's there forever.
Okay.
Now, I've been doing this for over 45 years, and the problem with, like, the air quality is that when you address this issue and say, listen, we got a lot of contamination here, they say, well, you got to show that it's coming from my facility.
Okay.
And how do you do that?
Okay.
You know?
There's a meeting on that process coming up later this week, right? A virtual
Yes,
meeting?
it is.
Yeah.
And what's the date? Because I don't remember these things.
It's coming up on Thursday,
Okay.
the 24th.
Okay.
It begins at 7 o'clock. It is on Zoom.
Okay.
I believe the links are on our Facebook page.
Okay.
And
On your
also
website as well.
On our website
Yep.
as well, yeah.
And then an Earth Day event. We're getting close on time here, but I wanted to touch on this event coming up on April 23rd, Alice.
Yes, so this is really being done by the wing of FRAX that does a lot of our protest work and things like that.
Okay.
They're doing a great job. So on the 23rd, which is a Saturday from 10 to 1, there will be multiple things going on, marching bands and the Red Rebels and speakers and music and food to just get us all together again, get us out there and say, we have one Earth, we need to protect it, and so we're here to do so.
Okay. All right. That's open to all.
Open to all.
Okay. And I know it's important to point out that FRAX is a nonprofit 501c3 corporation. You exist solely on contributions, on donations. Legal fights are not inexpensive, certainly.
Right.
So, how many members would you say you have now?
Well, on our email list, we have close to 2,000.
Do you really?
We do.
Okay.
And it's getting to the point where we're going to have to pay for our MailChimp.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
But we have a lot of people. We have allies all over the state and all over the country, actually, oddly enough, and
in
internationally.
Germany.
Germany,
There you go.
France, Denmark.
Okay.
Canada.
I do want to point out that every time I have you folks on, I also make the offer to Enbridge Energy, and they repeatedly have declined that request. So just,
Oh, boy.
just to put that out there as well. Thank you both. Really appreciate it.
It's a
Thank
pleasure
you, Joe.
coming.
Thanks for having us
You're
again.
very welcome. Just enough time to check the forecast for you for the rest of the day today. Lots of sunshine, kind of a bite to the air out there with that wind. Temperatures in the mid-50s, feeling a little cooler. Look at down to the mid-30s tonight. We're not done with the feel of winter just yet. Cooling off as the week goes on and turning damp toward Thursday. Thanks again to Alice Arena, Mike Lang for joining
Thank you.
us from
Thank
Frax.
you.
Thanks to our crew. And thank you for watching. Friday on the program, we'll welcome the headmaster for the Woodward School for Girls here in Quincy. Don't forget, check out our website anytime. It's qatv.org. You'll find all of our latest programs there. There's news and information, video on demand, live streaming, and more. For all of us here at QATV, I'm Joe Catalano. Have a great week.